going to get started. Yes, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the December 2023 Global Women's Peace Network HerStory Award. This is the final award ceremony of the year. Can you believe it? We're in December. This year's gone by so quickly. My name is Grace Kisile and I will be your MC this evening. The HerStory Award recognizes women peacemakers who live by the logic of love. And tonight we will be celebrating and hearing from three really incredible ladies. We'll be honoring them, of course, for what they have achieved, but also for the people that they are, and hearing and learning from their unique journeys of challenge, victory, and incredible investment. Without further ado, let us begin the program. And we'll begin by first welcoming up the President of Women's Federation USA, Kaylee Moffitt, to share about GWPN and her story. So let's please welcome up President Kaylee.
Thank you, Grace, and good evening or good afternoon if you're on the West Coast. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. This is one of my favorite things that we do every month because we get to meet and appreciate women in our community who are making a difference. And, you know, the truth is every time I meet these women, I know none of them do it for the credit. They do it because they have their own calling and their own motivation behind why what they're doing is so important. And we really believe that celebrating these women is such an important part of our mission as Women's Federation for World Peace. Already in the few minutes that I've had to chat with the ladies that we are awarding tonight, I can tell you that you're in for a treat. These are all such warm-hearted and jovial women. And I know they've overcome tremendous struggles, but they don't wear their struggles, they wear their joy. So I'm so grateful to be able to honor all of them today. And I'm grateful to our Women's Federation chairwomen who have nominated such incredible women today. Before I hand it back to Grace, I always love to start with a particular quote from the founder of our organization, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, whom we lovingly call Mother Moon. This is from her memoir, The Mother of Peace. And all throughout her memoir, she talks about the importance of women leadership and how desperately we need the woman's touch in not just our families, but also in our societies and our communities. And she says here that women have the magical power to create harmony and to soften hearts. The world of the future can be a world of reconciliation and peace, but only if it is based on the maternal love and affection of women. This is the true power of womanhood. The time has come for the power of true womanhood to save the world. So thank you to those who we're honoring today, who I think are prime examples of this that Mother Moon often talks about. We're looking forward to learning more about you and sharing the HerStory Award with you. I'll hand it back to you, Grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Kaylee. And yes, thank you for that introduction. So let's get started with our first awardee. So our first awardee is Jackie Zuccoli. Jackie initiated her global impact during her time in Liberia, West Africa, as a Peace Corps volunteer. From there, her journey navigated through a corporate career in Silicon Valley and eventually led to the establishment of her businesses, initially in desktop publishing and later in network coaching. After founding 10 networking groups in the Bay Area, she and her husband, Steve, relocated to Arizona. The true potential of her endeavors unfolded when she was told that she would change humanity. It became evident through interactions with various groups that her calling was to utilize her networking experience to provide resources to developing communities worldwide. In her business, Network Builders Arizona, Jackie focuses on training businesses to intentionally build a profitable presence and sustainability on LinkedIn. So I'm very excited to hear from Jackie. And first, we will welcome up President Kaylee again to present her with her award.
So you have to imagine we're on a beautiful stage and Jackie is standing next to me, but we're going to virtually bring up our award. And all our awardees will get this mailed to you. So you'll have your own beautifully framed copy of this. But in the meantime, our team will bring it up on the screen and I will read it for everybody. and we'll just wait.
1 second.
No problem. I also see lots of our Arizona Global Women's Peace Network women who are joining tonight, I think, to support Jackie. So you've got your fan club here tonight, Jackie, to cheer you on. I can see that. All right, here we go. So this is the Her Story Award, which is proudly presented to Jacqueline Zaccoli on this day, December 2nd, 2023. Thank you for your unwavering passion and dedication in raising awareness and connecting individuals to their utmost potential through the networks you empower. We honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. So everybody, please join me in applauding Jackie. And I believe we're going to hand it over to the woman who nominated her. Maybe I'll just go ahead and do that. I would like to welcome up my wonderful dear friend and sister, Mrs. Glenda Lambert, our chairwoman, our GWPN coordinator. Please welcome Glenda to share about why she nominated Jackie today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for Jackie to receive this wonderful, wonderful award. Jackie was really introduced to me by Dr. Susan Taver and Kim Evans when we were kind of trying to organize, the Global Women Peace Network in Arizona and putting these outstanding women in our magazine, and Jackie was one of them. She is such a bright light. Whenever we have an event, and Jackie is there, I'll feel good because I know it's going to be a wonderful event. I love her marketing skills and brain. She's so passionate about connecting you with different people so you can really grow more, expand yourself more, become the kind of person you want to be, and then doing that with other groups. And she is so smart. I have to say that again. I just love being with her. I love when I have my little session. I remember I had a session with her and I was telling her, I want to do this and I want to do that. And she was so eagerly wanted to know what I wanted to do in my life. And I said, well, from Suriname, I really wanted to bring some educational resources. Before you know, she connected me with a brother from Nigeria. He's doing a lot of educational resources. We started talking. I'm starting to learn from him. And it really, really, really made me see her potential. So I'm so grateful, so happy for Jackie to receive this wonderful award that she can put on her curriculum, and she can tell everybody in the world that, hey, I got a HerStory awardee, and I am one, and I received one. So with so much pleasure and with so much heart, I'm so grateful that the Women's Federation team, really picked her out, something that was long overdue, and I'm so grateful for Jackie to receive that. Thanks, Jackie. Kisses for you.
So are we ready? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
all is well. Thank you, Glenda. You are so wonderful, and it's such a pleasure to work with you. And I'm so grateful for the Women's Federation for World Peace because it's everything that you do is what I am all about. And you need to actually grow from where you're planted. That's my concept. And bloom where you can from all the fertilizer in life that is your challenge to be able to get out of it the best you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a journey. And that journey is to grow a tree. The tree is me. And it started more years than most of you were around. And the cultivation of that tree is in the soil itself. My father died when I was 6 years old. And at that point, I was devastated. And God said, don't worry about it. This is the worst thing that's going to happen to you, and I'll be with you forever. So that has pretty much guided my life. My mother, in her infinite wisdom, had decided to allow me to go to all different types of groups to develop my group and social entrepreneur, so to speak, self, Girl Scouts and Job's Daughters and all different types of groups. And that was very important in my life. So the ground had been cultivated, plus the songs blowing in the wind. And you know how that goes with If I Had a Hammer And where have all the flowers gone? So now you know from whence I come. Now it's time for the seed to be planted. The seed was planted in college. I went to college at San Jose State and I was at Kappa Delta sorority. And it was Kappa Delta that really planted that seed that grew through my entire life. The first was when the sorority sister introduced me to my husband, who together we have 2 children. And then the second was when a sorority sister said, well, I'm going into the Peace Corps. So my husband and I said, well, that sounds like a great idea. So we went to Liberia, West Africa. And at that point, then, the tree began to branch out into 2 areas. So the 2 branches that came from that seed, the first one was my business. And my business branch, after we got back and I went to the corporate world and realized I didn't want to play there, it was not where I belonged in Silicon Valley. I started my own business in desktop publishing, as was noted. And that turned into networking groups and people saying, well, we don't know how to use the referrals. So I coached them in LinkedIn, and I figured with 980 million people to work with, I can take them step by step to be able to locate their best alliances intentionally and become word of mouth. So that's my business side. The other branch of that tree is my global reach. And that really started in 2010, more than about 40 years after that seed was planted. So don't give up, you young people. There's still a chance for you. And that seed that actually was planted and then became, in 2010, I met a fellow by the name of Echo. And Echo was from Ghana. And it was his desire to bring the nonprofits into Ghana to be able to help the people in the villages. It was a wonderful idea, but it was too early. And we weren't ready for that. So fast forward again to 2014. In 2014, I met a woman who we call an indigo, and she knows what's happening in this world. So she said, you don't know, do you? I said, I don't know. What don't I know? And she says, you're here to change humanity. I said, what? Are you kidding me? I cried all the way home, and I developed my mantra. My age justifies my wisdom. My developed clarity teaches the excitement of awareness and ignites the spark of action and change. And change did happen. Everything changed from then on. The first thing that happened is about 2016, I ran into a Dr. Paula Fellingham, and she had created the International Youth Parliament. Youth from 16 to 29-year-olds in countries all over the world, all working through the UN SDGs to improve life and to increase love, prosperity, and peace. I said, sign me up. And I mentor these people today. And that is my foundation for everything that I do, plus a few more that are thrown in here and there. And so the International Youth Parliament was first. And then from that, I talked to Pakistan and I said, what do you need? Well, we need food, we need water, we need, all the basic things. And I said, well, I know all these people. I know all the answers. What am I supposed to do? So God said, you start with education and you start local. I said, I can do that. So at that point, I started manifesting Global Solutions Group, which is my global part of me. And I wanted to bring all those people on board. Started with education. I started with Footsteps to Brilliance, which was the gamified literacy app. And I thought, if I can take children to 3rd grade level in 90 days, oh my gosh. So the next thing that I ran into, or group that I ran into, was the Lifesavers Ambassadors International. And Honorable Yvonne Gamble says, let's take those into the world. And we have 10 countries that are ready for the tablets with those, though we haven't gotten the funding because of the attempts on World War III. So we are slowly getting into that. In the meanwhile, we're going to countries all over the world to be able to bring the footsteps and many other things to those countries. And I found that the most important part was not only the literacy, but there are 4 of them, 4 areas. There's literacy, there's wellness, there is environment, and then the 4th one is employment. So if I can build resources in all of those areas, and I do, I can have all of these people that I've spoken with work together. And when I went to Liberia, talked to Liberia about the gamified literacy app, they said, well, we can't afford that. And I said, well, okay, how about a cell phone? Cell phone will work with a projector. Well, I can't afford the projector. Okay, skin in the game here. What I'll create is the Impactful Artisan Network. And that's where Spirit of the Game came in to develop that and networks of networks. So I want to leave you with 3 different thoughts real quick like that might help you in guiding your life from now on. When you run into a problem, that's fine, but go ahead and go to solution as quickly as possible. The second one is when you have a challenge, ask yourself, can you change it? Secondly, are you responsible for changing it? And thirdly, if you can do it, if not, I wonder what God's going to do with this. And the third thing is to go into the conversation with empathy, without judgment, curious, open-minded, and listening. Those are the 3 things. And I'd like to leave you with a quote, my very favorite quote from Gary Spence. Be open to wonder rather than closed by belief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So much.
Very nice.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ms. Okoli.
Thank you, Jackie.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I really learned just from that, I love those 3 thoughts. As you were saying those final 3 thoughts, I was thinking, that's exactly what I was getting from your story, your beautiful analogy of the
Good.
tree. Each moment, each level, each step, it seems like you approached it with so much curiosity and just yeah, this spirit of what can we do here? And yeah, it's really amazing. So thank you so much for your sharing.
Thank
All right,
you.
so let's give her one more round of applause. Wonderful. All right, so we will now be moving on to our second awardee, Miss Rohita Khan. So let me just pull up her. Okay. So in her role as a victim assistance program specialist, Ms. Khan plays a pivotal role in coordinating and delivering emergency services for victims of various crimes, including human trafficking, sex and labor trafficking, child sexual exploitation, and sex tourism. Acting as a primary liaison with field offices, Department of Justice components, and various governmental and non-governmental agencies, she addresses victim assistance issues. Furthermore, she extends her commitment by volunteering at Afghan refugees camp Welcome Allies in El Paso, providing victim assistance and serving as a cultural expert and trainer. Her dedication is evident in conducting numerous anti-human trafficking training sessions for a diverse range of organizations, including NGOs, hospitals, high schools, clergy, mental health professionals, parent-teacher associations, hotels, airport personnel, domestic violence councils and shelters, interfaith organizations, and participating in task forces and conferences. So before we welcome up Ms. Khan, I want to bring up President Kaylee to read her award.
Thank you, Grace. And it's our great honor to be able to present this award to you, Rohita. Caroline has been telling me so much about you. And so I'm so grateful that we get to meet virtually, hopefully in person one day. But it's my honor to present this to you. The Her Story Award is proudly presented to Rohita Khan on this day, December 2nd, 2023. Thank you for your commitment to raising awareness about the plight of human trafficking and for advocating for better lives for all those who come your way. We honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. We can give her a round of applause. And I would like to welcome up our chairwoman from San Diego to introduce a little bit more about Rohita and why she nominated her. Please join me in welcoming up Caroline Betancourt.
Yes, hello, everybody. Wow. Well, I think just based on what we heard from Jackie, that the kind of work that Rohita does and that Jackie does, that they could really work together in a lot of ways. So that I suppose that's true for all of us because we all are here with the heart of women. We're all here to really try to bring peace in the best way that we can. So I am Caroline Betancourt, acting chairwoman of WFWP in San Diego. It's only been like about 6 or 7 months. I can't believe that it's just been such a short period of time, but I saw the movie Sound of Freedom. And it was like I got kicked in the gut. I just was so shocked by this, which I had no awareness at all that this was happening. And so I thought, well, WFWP is a great platform for bringing awareness to people about this issue, because a lot of times we know there's children who are affected. And that's actually how I met Rohita, because she was introduced to me as somebody who was working in the field. And when I first heard her story of the work she does and saw her passion and dedication that she puts into her work to find volunteers who can provide assistance and resources to rescued victims of human trafficking, I really was reminded of the sentiment expressed by Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon in her memoir, Mother of Peace, that was already mentioned, when she said, I stay awake at night with the heart to cover the world's children with blankets while they sleep. And this is really what Rohita does. She's tireless in her efforts to help the people who are pulled out of a victim's situation with resources. And a lot of the resources that she gets them by volunteers. It's not that the government pays for the resources that she's going to give to these people. She has to find volunteers in the community who will work together, network together to help these people when they come out. Because you can imagine when they come out, they're coming out of a situation where they've been trafficked. Maybe they don't have clothes, they have no place to go, who knows if they have food. I mean, their situation is very dire. So she needs to have the resources available right there when they come out. And she's been doing this in Los Angeles, as was mentioned. And now she's been starting here in San Diego, setting up these networks here in the San Diego area. But the other thing about her too is that because she's so passionate about what she's doing, her education, she is so compelling when she talks to people about how serious this situation is. But she's not heavy about it. She's not negative. She's very light. She's funny. She's enthusiastic. But she's really wanting to educate people on this. And most people, they say, I had no idea. Most people have no idea. Their child could be sitting next to them. They're watching TV together. Their child could be on their phone talking to a potential trafficker, and the parent would not even know. So it requires a lot of awareness, and she's been very sincere about doing that here in the San Diego area, as well as I don't know if it was mentioned in her bio that she was training the Salvation Army worldwide on human trafficking. I don't know if that was mentioned, but I think that's a really very, very profound kind of thing that was doing there too. So as I said, she really is a compelling, experienced, and knowledgeable in her field. But more than that, she's really open-hearted, loving, and compassionate. I'm so honored, so pleased, so thrilled that I could call her my friend. So I'd like to have you all welcome Ms. Rohita Khan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'm deeply honored and humbled to accept this award on behalf of all the victims of human trafficking and child sexual exploitation. I'm extremely thankful to my dear friend Caroline, my esteemed partner in crime, for nominating me for this award, and to all the honorable organizers of this great event to select me as the winner of one of this prestigious award of telling her story. Thank you, Women's Federation for World Peace. My story begins with my favorite saying: the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. And that's Helen Keller. As a little girl, I, for some reason, felt the pain of others in my heart. While growing up, I saw my parents, grandparents, and especially women in my family involved in helping less fortunate around us. They always took care of the people working for them and treated them with respect and love. My mom will sit for hours to sit to a janitor working at our place, or my grandma taking care of a sick baby of our housekeeper, or sharing food with neighbors. I remember my grandma saying that everyone needs a little care, a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, or a nice compliment to make their day, and that's what exactly what she did. So I had a burning desire to help people and make difference in the life of less fortunate ones. I sincerely believe that our world, especially the victims of human trafficking, really need love, acceptance, humility, humanity, helpfulness, and hopefulness, and that each member of our society is accountable for the well being of each other. Even a small bit of contribution and sacrifice from our side could be enough to bring in the smile on the innocence and unprivileged faces of our victims. So I was working at a beacon house when I was very young. Somehow, I don't know if you guys know, but I have a master's in international relations, master's in political science, I have a law degree, and also a master in counseling psychology. At the time, I just finished my master's degree, and I was working as a beacon house, which was a very prestigious school in Pakistan, very young and very stylish kind of a person, very beautiful at the time, not so much now, but and I was just enjoying my life. And then I came to know that in the school there were more boys and less girls, and somehow it was very close to the tribal area, which was the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. Is called Peshawar, and the tribal leaders would not bring their girls in. So the owner of the school, she wrote to me that, maybe we should not even take these girls because they might be, their parents might be smugglers or something. Oh, I got burned. I was very young and very feisty. I just went ahead and I said, oh no, this is not happening. I went to each tribal leader and I called them my brothers and I said, you need to bring your girls to this school. And I told the owner of the school that if you want to open a school as a public school, then everybody has a right to come to this school. Otherwise, we're going to close this school in this place. And she was like, oh, Pashtuns, we don't want to work with Pashtuns because these are the people who can create all that fuss. I was able to bring all the girls to the schools. And at the end of my tenure with the school, I realized it was 60-40 from just 20 to 80. It was 60 to 40, and I thought that was my great achievement. And I worked with the, so I started training, and I had a training from England on the integrated studies and all that. So I started training. I took all my the training, 5 days of my time I would work with the school, and then I would go back and I would work with all the public schools and train all their teachers who were teaching the unprivileged population in the villages. So that's what I did. And then from there, when I was doing all that, one day I visited a hospital. I was going to see my friend over there. And there I saw one little girl, 16-year-old hardly. She was sitting in a room, and then there were a lot of cops. And to know the conservative environment of Pakistan, where I'm coming from, which is northern part, there was some kind of chaos going on, and I'm like, what's going on over here? And that was the time I just finished my law. I topped my law college. I just had the law degree, and it was just to understand my rights. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't know, I didn't had no intention of practicing law. So the people over there told me, well, this young girl was with her father because she does not have any brothers over there. And the ward boy got very much interested in that girl, and he took the girl to some place over there, telling her that if you sit with me and talk to me, I want to introduce you to a very competent doctor who can do a surgery on your father who was a heart patient. She was just girl sitting with her, and some other person went and called the cops and said that these two were involved in something like really fishy stuff. And in that conservative environment, it is very, very hard to accept for people, for a girl to go do that. And now they had this girl and all the cops and everybody else. So I just stopped there. My driver said, ma'am, let's go, let's go. I said, oh no, I'm not going. I just knocked the door and I went inside and I said, what's going on? And they looked at me and they said, who are you? Are you her attorney? Very sarcastically. The cop was very sarcastic to me. And I just realized, oh, I have a law degree. And I said, oh, yes, I'm her attorney. So he said, okay, you need to go and do her bail. what the hell I knew what the bail was. And I only knew theoretical part of it. I didn't know any practical part of going to the police station in that kind of a conservative place. Going to a police station in my seventh generation, no women have gone there. But I went. I took my car. I made the girl sit with me. I made the cop sit with me, and the doctor sit with me, and went to the police station. I went there. I did all the paperwork, which I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I did it anyway and signed the paperwork. And then I took the girl, and the only mistake I made over there was I let the girl back to the father. I did not realize that I was too young. I didn't know what I was doing. So I just thought she's safe now with the father. Guess what? In the meantime, the news went to the village saying telling them that this girl was caught with somebody, and you know how the things were small to get to bigger, and the end was her cousins got up and killed the girl. That you destroyed our honor. That was my first honor killing case that I came across. And that was the time I went straight to the office. I resigned. So I resigned at Beacon House and I said, I'm going to practice law and I'm going to work with all the people, all the girls who are suffering like this. And since then, I wrote all this, but I'm not going to read it. So I did that, and I went and started practicing law. All my cases were domestic violence, family cases, all those cases that I did over there. And most of the cases I did, 99% of the cases I did were pro bono. Because at the time, my ex-husband was very rich, so I didn't need money. So I did all that cases. And there, when I was working over there, I saw the child sexual exploitation cases. And I saw all the abuse which is going on with the kids. And that's how I got involved into the child sexual exploitation cases, and then domestic violence cases, and then I started working with human trafficking cases, and I realized that's the most abused. These are the voiceless people, that we can become their voice. If I cannot do that, I don't know who will. That's what I thought, because everybody to play a small role in that. And when I say it is a modern day slavery, I do not mean to think that I'm not comparing that slavery with the slavery. But when you put a little kid in a small place, 12-year-old, and sell and resell, and then have sex with them and gang rape them and beat them, and they cannot come out of the situation, what would you call that? So, and similarly, a desperate person who's coming from some country to have a good life in here, and then you put them in a farm, or you put them in a sweatshop, and you don't give them food, and you don't pay them. And so, what would you call that? So that's why I started my life with human trafficking cases. And before this job, I was working as a program director for Salvation Army Human Trafficking Program, and I was in charge of 13 Western states, and I was doing all that work over there. But at that time, I realized that when we were doing something called continued presence for the victims of human trafficking, so that they can stay here legally in the country, I was always struggling with working with the law enforcement agencies to get that continued presence to do this. It was hard. So then this opening came up with Department of Homeland Security, and I thought, you know what? I need to be on the other side of the fence. And if I'm there, I can make more difference than I'm when I'm here. Though with Salvation Army too, I wrote a manual and I did a lot of work with other all my partners over there. But I joined ICE, which is Department of Homeland Security. Well, we don't call ourselves ICE anymore. We call ourselves HSI, Homeland Security Investigation. So I joined this. And I'm very lucky that in my life I got really good supervisors and people that I work with. So over here, I made whole my life around four P's. That is, number one is prevention, which Jackie also talked about, and all of you talked about. So that's the all the training, the outreach, the education, the part that we do. You guys mentioned, and then there's a P which is called protection, and for that I need all of you. So we connect them to the resources and all that. That's the protection part of it, and then there's a third part of is prosecution, and for that we mean that we need to have very good sentences for the victims, for the traffickers, so that this vicious circle can be broken, this cycle can be broken. And I'll just mention two of my cases. In one of my cases, this was ex-marine from Oxnard. He was going to Cambodia, abusing all the kids. The girls were from 9 to 11-year-old. That was his choice. and then he would abuse them and come back and just stay here, and he was okay. There's a law now that if any US citizen goes abroad and get involved in the exploitation of a minor, we can bring them back over here too and prosecute them. We got the 210 years of jail for him. And he went into many appeals. He gave us very hard time. You can Google it. His name is Pepe, Joseph Pepin, 58-year-old guy. So he's still in jail, and he will remain in jail for the rest of his life. The other case, the other case that I did is Russian American going to Russia and getting involved in abuse of minor girls, and then telling them, I'm going to cut your head and play soccer with it if you do not listen to me. And I worked with those victims when they were here, and I thought they are very powerful young girls and they will be very good in trial. And we prepared them and we did everything. And when they went to the court, we were expecting maybe if we get 50 years, we are good. And then when they saw that guy in front of them, what happened? They got panic attack, and they were so, like, they acted so badly that the judge looked at them and said, oh my God, are these girls still going through that trauma from that time? So guess what? He gave them 150 years of jail. And that's he's still in jail. So that's the kind of things that do. And we did a lot of domestic trafficking cases, which if I go into detail, it's like hundreds and thousands of them. So we cannot talk all about that. But what I would like to talk about is and I don't know how much time I left, maybe 1 minute now. So
Just about.
uh,
Just 1 more minute.
1 more minute. Okay, so we did thousands of cases. I don't want to go into stats because I'm not supposed to be. But what I want to say is that to see the what keep us going, keep me going is it exhausting job? Is it a 9 to 5 job? No, my job is not 9 to 5 job. It is 24/7 job, and 365 days. It could be in the morning, evening, night, because the traffickers do not have a schedule. They do not have 9 to 5 jobs. So we don't. For me, it's a passion. Can it be exhausting? Yes. Can you get tired at some time? Yes. Do you get burnout? Yes. You fight with your husband? Yes. All of the above. But it was never once that I thought that I could be doing something else. And if God give me another life, I will still be doing what I'm doing today. And I'm very, very humbled that God has made me, in, blessed me to do the work that I love to do. And I hope that all of you will be joining me in this work. And I'm so proud of you all for what you do. And I'm very grateful to you again for the award. And like I said in my first statement, it's just to be felt. When you feel it in your heart, then you can do wonders. Because remember, impossible makes is there's a possible in it. I am possible, right? I am possible. So it's impossible. So impossible becomes possible, and that's what has exactly happened in my life. So and that's how I was able to create. I was a founding member of Human Trafficking Task Force in Long Beach, and founding member of FGM Task Force, which we'll talk some other time. And so all these work that I'm doing there now, I'm creating a coalition of of the services here in San Diego. I'm already talking to the NGOs, and hopefully in few months we'll get that going. So that's my story.
Wow, thank you so much, Ms. Khan. And I'm sorry, you have so much wisdom to share. And yeah, just thank you so much for sharing. If you look in the comments, so many people are, yeah, commenting, sharing their appreciations, and even, you know, offering a hand. So yes, I'm sure there's ways to connect together, and that'll be awesome. But yeah, just what I'm getting from this really is, just about you and your heart is, it's so beautiful to see the passion that is obviously burning inside of you, and how you've allowed that to really, really unleash all of your talents for the sake of this population. So thank you so much. And let's just honor her one more time with a round of applause. Thank you so much, Ms. Khan. All right, so for our third and final awardee, we have Dr. Veronica Ufwebune. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I am sorry. Let me read her bio to you. So Dr. Mrs. Veronica Ufwebune is a versatile and transformative community leader, a dedicated mother of 4, and a nurturing figure within her community. She excels as a loving wife, eloquent keynote speaker, professor of education, former city manager, executive director of school programs, inspirational speaker, published author, dynamic facilitator, state trainer of educators, and a guide and mentor. Known for her innovative and research-based curriculum designs, she tailors them to align with the diverse abilities, learning needs, and styles of her students. Additionally, Dr. Veronica has played a crucial role as a state advisor, addressing early learning and care policies and practices in California, having been appointed by Governor Edmund Brown. So with that, let me welcome up President Kaylee Moffitt to present the award.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. And Dr. Veronica Ufwebune, it's our great honor to be able to present this to you, to honor not just the work you're doing, but the woman that you are and the impact that you're making. So we will go ahead and bring up our virtual award. And again, you'll receive this in the mail. The HerStory Award is proudly presented to Veronica Ufwebune on this day, December 2nd, 2023. Thank you for your insightful leadership as an educator and leader whose efforts have transformed early learning, care, and policies in the communities you serve. We honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. Let's give her a round of applause. And now I'm going to hand it over to the woman who nominated her to learn a little bit more. If you would join me in welcoming Mrs. Bruna Allen, one of our longtime Women's Federation leaders. Welcome, Bruna.
Thank you. Yeah, good evening to all. In my 20 years, actually, with WFWP, I've met many incredibly accomplished ladies, full of altruism. But I must say that Dr. Veronica is one of the top names on my list. I want to stress that Dr. Veronica deserves applause for accomplishing her doctorate in educational leadership while she was a loving mother of her young family of 4. And for her excellent parenting skills, she was recognized with her husband by the Family Federation for World Peace with the Parent of the Year Award. And while she raised her children, she worked full-time outside of the home, and most especially, she modeled for her children the civic virtue of living for the sake of others through multiple endeavors. To enumerate all the activities and projects Dr. Veronica has invested her heart and soul in would take me more than the time I have, but I'll try. Dr. Veronica has always held in her heart deep concern and passion for providing a solid educational opportunities for the young, both in her native country, Nigeria, and in the US, so that she could raise youth that lives in respect of others and contribute through brotherhood. And she has spoken about it on many occasions. At the Schools of Africa program of WFWP, Dr. Veronica shared from her heart about the challenges and efforts that she has been involved in that surrounds the issue of educational rights for girls and women in her country. She has been instrumental in establishing an online learning program for Nigerian children. And in California, she has poured her passion as advisor and leader for early learning and care for agencies at the county and state levels. Dr. Veronica has also helped the promotion of medical missions to her country as a board member for the Nigerian Association North America, and she serves on other boards like the United Nations Association of the San Francisco Bay Area. And there she has showed her passion for building dialogue and peace among people from different nations. And she has magnified that intent through transforming a simple annual event of UN flag raising in Auckland into a full-blown ceremony and parade involving a variety of nonprofits, charitable organizations, and top civic authorities. And all those who participate testify to the deep inspiration they received and ask to be further involved in other similar projects that Dr. Veronica organizes to accomplish those beautiful ideals. So she has turned Oakland on fire now for peace. And in her native hometown, she has just received actually an honor as a chief at the Royal Palace. So all those that know Dr. Veronica refer to her as the matron of love and service. So I'll give her word to her now.
Oh, good evening. I just don't even know where to start. Good evening, everyone. Bruna, I would say the prior person referred to her partner as her partner in crime. I would say that our crime is peace. Bruna is my partner in peace. And this snuck up on me. All this stuff she's saying, I'm going, oh my God, she's been keeping track. Even till the one I shared recently when I went home to my mother's sister's burial, the king surprised me with the chieftaincy title for the work that I do with children, with youth, with women, with girls. Bruna, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't do what I do for awards. I do it because it just brings me joy to impact the life of a girl, of a woman, of a child, of a young person, of people. I love people, and I think that everybody deserves peace in their lives, whatever peace means to that person. And so that I'm in awe because I don't know where to start. But thank you for recognizing the work that I do, that we all do. I'm in the midst of people who I think value life. And I want to thank you for valuing every life. Every life matters. There's a lot that I dig myself into, and I find the commonality thread is the 24/7 dedication that sometimes people say, do you ever sleep? Well, I kind of find sleep, but as long as I can be up to get something done, I get it done. And I work hard for what earns me money, but I put everything I earn back into the community. And happily that I see my children doing that. And I learned that from my mom and dad. My mother was a midwife, and my father was a physiotherapist who worked with the orthopedics. So when he comes back from work, he's back in the house working. And my mother, they had babies in my house all my life, all night. But I used to wonder, why aren't they like super wealthy? Well, my mother, after giving birth to a baby, she goes in her bag and she finds the baby clothes for the children. And we used to say, Mom, why don't you just like get money? She goes, that's okay. And then you see the patients in our kitchen taking food. She packs and gives you when you finish having the baby. And so I didn't understand that, because other people who were like her made big money and lived. But in our house, there were babies having. She would go to the market. She would buy those big bags of what we call gari, rice, beans, everything. And she shared it all out. And she didn't allow us to have people coming to clean for us. We cleaned and we did everything with everyone, even though she was somebody who did well. But just a little background about me not having the line between my life and the life of giving back to our community. I don't have to bore you with everything that I am that I do, including the recognition and appointment from Governor Edmund Brown to have me making doing policies, working with a lot of our elected officials to turn initiatives into assembly bills and Senate bills. And so I'm really grateful to be able to take things that are of pain to our community and taking it to a complaint circle. I work with the Parent Network and the Early Childhood Network, and then turn that into laws that are beginning to impact the learning. Where do I get my passion? I can sum it up with what Mandela said. Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon by which you can change the world. And that's absolute fact. It's research, it's founded. So I pour a lot of what I do into helping build strong children. And that takes me to Frederick Douglass, who says, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And so that I put a lot of my energy into working with children. I run a nonprofit that's in Berkeley, in the city of Berkeley, that is dedicated to low-income families, children that are from foster care, children that are wards of courts, children from homelessness. And so I channel the funds from departments of education to make sure we offer high quality education. My program in Berkeley is 5-on-5 quality rating. That means that it's important to us that these children who wouldn't have had high quality education because they can't afford the high quality schools can go to a school that's funded by the state, research curriculum, and the children excel. And then we also channel the social services funds, which also helps to give comprehensive care to the child and the family. So we're supporting children from when they are really young to after school age, and providing high quality food. So nutrition is high quality as well. So they're getting top notch. I'm paying for resources that come into pipe into supporting the program. And as well, in my community, I even as of these 3 days, I'm getting awards in the village. So I had to send people to go get the awards. And I'm getting an award in another village where it's called Abuja. So I sent someone else. But it's not about collection of awards. What I'm really happy is that it's impacting. And the impact is where people go, oh, we really appreciate it. That encourages me to give more. And the school is called Good Story School. It's in a village, in a remote village where the water overtakes the village and you have to go with canoe. But I found people that give good education. So from my little salary, I'll send money. For example, if I send $1 translates to 1,000 naira. So if I send $200, I'm sending 200,000 naira, and that can educate many children. So I would send things like that to schools. I would send it to the adult youth program because they go back and they help fix things for families. They help provide food, they help make a difference. So every little way that I can, and it's hard to, of course, find funding because people would rather use their money, but so every impact I can, establish scholarship program with my friends. So when we go as alumni, it's not just to go have a get together, but it's to go make sure that we build dormitories for children, that we help make sure that their physics lab is fine, to make sure that the chemistry lab is fine, that there's a book store, that there's also library, that they can play basketball, they can play. So just making sure we strengthen the foundation. And these are children that otherwise they don't have support and they're out in the street. Then I also help women. There's a young girl whose father died very young. And because a lot of times the father is the source of funds, it means that the woman has to do really, really difficult things like prostitution or go hungry. So we helped that young girl, help the family. The young girl was sent to school here in America, but when she came back home, there's nothing else to do. So we set up what was her talent. She's great at collaborating. So with $10, they can train another young girl on the street. So we started this outfit called Mama Money, where she would have somebody and say, what do you want to learn? What's your talent? I know how to do hair. Okay, so they train with $10 and the money accumulated helped them start that hair school. Or if they want to do trading, they do that. And I also take young girls off the street and I would ask, what do you want to do? I can't keep giving you money. So let's think about your talents. The last one that I just completed, I sent her about $1,000, but I didn't give it to her. We went through, what do you want to do? So she says, I want to sell foods. And I said, what kind of foods? She says, I want to be, people are hungry, and we agreed. First, she said different things. We got to, okay, selling foods. Okay. But I felt like selling foods in a bar would expose her to men who might abuse her. So we went up and down, and finally is selling food products in a store, which means people who come to her store are people coming to buy products that they then go home, like rice and beans and everything. So we established the pathway. So when she was done, I gave her the first money, which is to get a store. Then she showed me the picture of the store, then to fix the store. Then we went through how much, find somebody. And then she found that person. My helper at home would then check it, make sure it's done. Then we built the store, we built the shelves. Then she started shopping for the materials, and then she got the materials. They painted it, and then she opened the store. She has 3 young children. Her own fate was that her husband died, and because she only had 3 girls, the village got her out of, the family got her out to say she doesn't have children because she didn't have a boy. So that means she has no help, she has nowhere to go, and she was homeless. So I started with helping her get something, then to the point she has a store. Then we opened an account. So she has an account for herself, for upkeep, and an account for the store. So I kind of did all the coaching. Now she put money from the store. So she would go, oh, look, I sold this amount today. And so example of stories like that. Somebody else was baking, and she would bake on the firewood because we got to the point where she started baking. But then I said, go find any kind of oven. She found used oven. We started with that. Now she bakes for birthdays, and then she's selling, she's making money. So I'm constantly finding ways to work together. And then now that we have an organization called NAPAC, NAPAC is Nigerian America Public Affairs Committee, we're trying to scale it up. We're also still looking for partners to help us scale it up so we'll help more children. There was a woman, she was accused of adultery, and I saw the picture in a village square WhatsApp group, and they kind of were disgracing her. I immediately picked up my phone, and I called, and I was able to collaborate with another partner that sort of barbaric act should stop. And I just didn't keep quiet. I fought for it till they got it to the state level, and now they brought it back to communities to establish how you deal with adultery accusation. I don't care if it's true or not, but that was inhumane to have her going through the street and everybody clapping and making a jest of her. So we're able to change such laws. So I'm constantly on the move, making, because what I want is the emancipation and freedom and equality, equity, education for all whether you're a young girl, a young boy, youth, finding jobs. And now I've started a farming group where we're putting about 2 million naira, which is like $2,000. And then we're doing the farming. So I can go on, but I'm constantly in projects. I'm constantly collaborating. I have a product called SKC Apps, which helps to teach literacy and reading, and we get it from here, and I find funders that would help get it to the table, to the hands of young children. Just like the other woman said, Awadi said, I find partners, we get the SKC app, we get a cell phone, iPad, whatever we can to get it. So it's constantly finding ways to build a community, strengthen. I build a website now where all children can go. It's free to learn our culture and learn our language because it's getting lost. And when you lose who you are, you lose everything. So I'm probably gone over my time, so I'll be quiet. But this is something I just do every day. Not easy. Sometimes I have to find ways to pay my bills and still get it done. But I don't want those children and women and girls to be lost. So just do all my best. Thank you for your time. And I appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Ufwebune. Sorry.
You did wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad. Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing. And yeah, just the main thing that's coming through for me is just straight from your childhood, you learned it from your parents that really there is no separation between your own home life and community. And that's such a beautiful concept that I think many people, it's hard to think of that. We might want to think that way, but in action, in practice, it's so much harder sometimes. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing really the results of just letting go and really just allowing ourselves to treat the community around us and those we care about as our extended family. and creating such an impact along the way. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you so much to all three of our ladies. Yeah, this is just an amazing group of ladies. So let's give all of them a last round of applause. Yes.
Thank you, Bruna. Mhm.
Yeah, it's really
Thank
a
you.
lesson, I feel, of the, with passion and a little boldness, the creativity really comes, and so much impact can be made by just one person starting something, right? So thank you so much. So to conclude, to wrap this wonderful hour up, I just have some final announcements. The first is our next GWPN event will be the GWPN webinar on December 11th. It'll be, on the spirit of giving, on, in this giving season, what is the lessons that we can learn there of giving and forgetting, the art of giving and forgetting. And if you feel inspired, we will be having, continuous HerStory awards each month, continuing next year. So if you have someone to recommend, please feel free to recommend. I think Yumi will put the link in the chat. And we also invite each one of you, if you're not yet a member of Women's Federation, we invite you to join us in this group of young, wonderful women who are just trying to be raised up and raise those around us up in this world, to create more and more of this feminine energy that really is so needed, right, in this world. So with that, I just want to say final thank you and good evening, and thank you.
Thank you, Grace. You did a great job today. Thank you, everybody.
Wow, thank you, ladies. Amazing. Love what I was hearing. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Jackie, Dr. Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you,
Rohida.
Glenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruna. I love you.
Hi, Kim.
Thank you, everybody.
Susan.